back to my channel. It feels so weird saying that, but here we are. I have a different kind of video for you today. I wanted to do a little bit of a sit down, like get to know me video. My first video on YouTube was my publishing story. And I just feel like there's so much more to me than the book that I wrote, Call It What You Want. And I've been realizing that my social media doesn't totally reflect who I am. I didn't have a plan for posting online when I wrote the book because truthfully, I didn't know what was gonna happen with it. And now I have, tens of thousands of followers, and I feel like people don't really know me. So here we are. I did a shorter intro video on TikTok and Instagram, and I put it on Shorts too, but here's a longer one. So my name is Alyssa DeRogatis. I am 28 years old. It's a Friday, so I am having a drink. I love Aperol Spritzes and red wine. All wine, honestly. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina with my two dogs, Oliver and Asher. Oliver is my new puppy. I just got him about like a month or two ago. Like I said, I'm an author. I also am now like a social media creator or personality. And before I quit my job to write full time, I was a social media manager for some of my favorite brands. Now let's get into the deeper stuff. Not really. I want to set the stage by saying I was the kind of kid that would gather everyone in the living room after dinner and put on some kind of show for them or make them watch me in some aspect. And I think that is very telling of who I am today. That kind of energy is carried through my 28 years of life. I've always had a big imagination. I've always been a creative person. And it started off with singing. I loved to sing. My dad tried to teach me how to play guitar for years, and I just could not sit there and learn chords. I didn't want to because there was like no end goal in sight, really. I was just learning how to hit a chord and strum. And then, as cliche as it sounds, I watched a radio interview of Taylor Swift. I think I was in 7th or 8th grade, and I watched her just move 2 fingers up and down for whatever song she was playing at the time. I think it was Jump Then Fall from the movie Valentine's Day, but I could be wrong on that. And I taught myself how to play the song. And then I became even more annoying because anytime someone came into my house, I would sit down with my guitar and be like, let me sing for you. And again, if that doesn't describe me, I don't know what does. So it was 8th grade and my parents were like, hey, like you should audition for this school called Performing Arts Academy. And I said, okay. We had to do one Broadway song. So I did Part of Your World by Little Mermaid and then the piano version of Forever and Always by Taylor Swift. So the school took 60 kids a year, 20 for acting, singing, and dance. And I got one of the 20 spots for singing, which was crazy. I didn't want to go. My parents were like, nope, you got in, you're going. For 3 days, I went to that school and I cried every single day until my parents let me go to public school with my other best friends, which I'm so grateful for because I only got 2 years at that school before my dad moved us to Raleigh, North Carolina for his job. So those 2 years were spent with my 3 best friends, Jenna, Bree, and Kayla, who I still talk to every single day. They come and visit me, I go home and visit them, and they're just friends that I'll have for life. So my dad, my mom, my little sister, and I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina this summer going into my junior year of high school. Thinking back on it, it's really hard to remember some things because it was 2 years at one school, 2 years at the other. And the transition at my new school was tougher because the first year I was like getting to know people. I was the new girl. It was just a blur. Senior year of high school, one thing that I will never forget is for Christmas, my dad gifted me a trip to Nashville where I auditioned for The Voice. It was a really great experience for the two of us to go do that because that was just something, music was like our thing. And I didn't get in, obviously, but it was a memory that I'll never forget. And I actually think I made a YouTube vlog of like our trip. I wonder if I could find that anywhere. That would be funny. Senior year, I graduate and I moved 2.5 hours away to Charlotte, North Carolina, where I started college at UNC Charlotte. The day that I moved into my dorm, my dad moved out of the house. My parents were separating. So my late teens and early 20s were just a lot of really hard years for me, and that was probably the toughest thing my family's ever gone through. I'm thankful that it wasn't something worse, but it was definitely a transformative experience. Sophomore year, I didn't really have roommates that I was like super close with, so I didn't feel comfortable enough to sing and play guitar, and I started to channel my feelings into writing articles. So I started writing articles for this website called The Odyssey. I don't know if they're around anymore, but it was kind of like a thought catalog, her campus kind of thing, and I wrote a lot of personal essays. And the first one that I wrote was called An Open Letter to the Guy Who Never Wanted to Date Me. It went viral on Facebook, like 500,000 views or something. People were resharing it. And 10 years later, I am still writing the same kind of stuff. And it actually did inspire the part of Call It What You Want where Sloan wrote her like viral open letter. because it really was just such an important thing. And I think that article is half of the reason subconsciously why I knew that if I wrote the book, it would also resonate with people. Then we get into junior year, and that year changed my life. I met some of my best friends, Michaela included, who, if you guys don't know her, I've never had a friend like her. She was on my book tour. She came to Miami, to Charlotte, to some other places, so you might have met her. She's all over my TikTok and Instagram. And then we also met Taylor, and Michaela and I are Taylor's maid of honors in her wedding in May. So crazy how you can go from being like 20 and blacking out off of barefoot Moscato to literally watching your friend get married. Junior and senior year were so much fun. We went out, we made so many friends. We went on like a cruise for spring break one year. We got dogs, we had a house together. We graduated in 2018, moved down to the South End Charlotte area where we still live, not together anymore. And that kind of brings me to now. Unfortunately, my camera overheated, so I don't know where I cut off. We're gonna just dive into some fun facts because I feel like I covered enough of the background. So my favorite thing to do on the weekends is to get dinner or drinks with my friends. I know it's kind of cliche, but I love spending time with my friends. There is nothing that I like more than doing my makeup, putting on a cute outfit, and getting out of the house. And that is exactly what Michaela and I are doing tonight. Like I said, I love an Aperol Spritz or a glass of wine. Pinot Noir has been my favorite for the past like year or so. Meiomi specifically is like my number one. My favorite place to go out in Charlotte is Sycamore, which is, I know is so basic, but you just like do not have a good time at Sycamore. It's fun, it's always lively, there's always people there. So if you're with a smaller group, it's a fun place to go and mingle. I have two dogs, like I said, Asher and Oliver. Asher is a 7-year-old blue heeler mix who I got my senior year of college from some random lady on Facebook, and he was free, though that dog has cost me thousands of dollars at the vet. And then this is Oliver, who is gonna be 6 months old next week. I got him about 2 months ago, and he's very tiny for his age. We're working on that. My favorite genre to read is romance. Obviously, I love Emily Henry. I loved Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I'm so excited for her new book, One Golden Summer, because that is like a spin-off of Every Summer After, I think. My favorite TV shows are New Girl, How I Met Your Mother, Younger, and these two might be controversial because they make me cry every time I watch them, but Normal People and One Day, those two shows just like really inspire me creatively. And if I could ever write books like either of those, I would be like the happiest person in the world. For the past 2 or 3 years, my favorite artist has been Gracie Abrams, which is really crazy to say. She's had a moment this year, like she popped off, and I'm so happy for her. I saw her at a small venue in 2023. I had to like force someone to come with me, and then my sister and I saw her in New York this fall at Radio City. We saw her perform That's So True before it even came out, and that is one of my favorite songs. I know it's so overplayed, but so good. Have pretty basic taste in music. I like everything. Podcast I listen to, Therapist with Jake Shane is my number one. I'm obsessed with Jake Shane. If I'm bored, I am scrolling his TikTok. I think he is the funniest person to ever exist, and I love that he has found fame. I love Call Her Daddy, The Toast, Girls Gotta Eat, and then I've been listening to Too Much with Emma Page, who I found from TikTok. I've never listened to someone who is so similar to me. She told this story on one of her podcasts about hyper independence, about how people in high school used to egg her house, and I was like, oh, that used to happen to me when I moved to North Carolina. Like, I just didn't understand why people like didn't like me. That was really fun. I've also been watching a lot of YouTube vlogs lately. I love Kenzie Elizabeth, Brett's Bites, Just Jazzy, IDK. I just watched her Bachelorette one to get excited for Taylor's Bachelorette that we're going on in a few months to Scottsdale. I don't really know. I'm pretty basic. I love probably a lot of things that you like, and I'm just excited to be here. I really love my life, and I know I post a lot about relationships and dating online, but that is just such a small part of my life. I felt like I was doing a disservice to those that like follow me because you guys don't really even know me. So here we are, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, or whatever day you're watching this. Hope you guys have a great night, day, week, whatever it is, if you even watch this, and thank you for being here. Hopefully this wasn't too choppy, but I'm sure it was. Cheers!